Intimacy isn't what you think it is. It's not just love or connection or sex. It's not even just vulnerability. It's actually something deeper. And if you're struggling to find intimacy, for one, you're not broken. And two, I've got some ideas for you to maybe help you unblock some of those things that are helping you access intimacy. In my life, I realized that I wasn't so good at intimacy. I thought I was. I thought I was doing the right things. I was finding that place of deep, deep connection. But I realized actually I was holding back. I was holding back for a couple of reasons. I'll frame them today. Maybe some of them sit with you as well. So today we're going to explore intimacy and four things that I see block intimacy. And then at the end, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go take a little quiz and maybe see places where you have intimacy or where you don't have intimacy, or you'd like to grow your intimacy just a little more. Because intimacy actually is a muscle. It's a muscle that we can develop. For most of us, it's just never been built up, or maybe it's atrophied, and maybe for good reason. Intimacy is, for this purpose, let's say, being fully seen and heard and felt. And not just by another person, but being seen and heard and felt by yourself. Perhaps being seen and heard and felt by something greater than me, something greater than you, something that's eternal and divine. Most people, though, think about intimacy as being just a closeness. There's a truth to that, but even more so, there is an openness. And openness takes some courage. So why is it so hard? Why does it take this courage? Well, there are four blocks that often come up. I see it over and over again. And we're going to peel it back just a little bit. The first, I like to call an armored heart. Most of us have been hurt before. Maybe it was as a child, maybe it was in our past adult relationship. We've had our heart broken before. And even if we crave intimacy, we've learned to protect ourselves. It's, for instance, the person who never shares their deepest feelings because the last time they did it, or the last many times they did it, they were told that they were too much. Well, intimacy requires taking a risk. It doesn't happen without opening. And it doesn't happen just when it feels good. Sometimes it's going to be a little scary. So the first thing is learning how to open past that armored heart. The second big blockage is often we have this perfect self illusion. We think we have to show up a certain way, we have to be lovable, we have to be this put together, this successful, this attractive. But real intimacy can only happen when we drop this kind of mask, we drop this kind of requirements for ourselves. You know, the partner who hides their true selves, their insecurities, thinking that, well, this will make me look acceptable, strong, lovable, whatever it might be. Hiding just creates barriers. So, what if your imperfections were actually what allowed for deeper connections? Third thing, fear of being too much or not enough. And I hear this over and over again. Many of us were told directly or indirectly that how we showed up, our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors, our beliefs were too much or not enough. And for some reason, I see this quite often separated between men, people who show up as men being told that they're not enough, not tall enough, strong enough, rich enough, successful enough, or women, people are showing up in women's bodies who are being told you're too much. You've got too much energy, you're too emotional, you're too something, 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 you need to dim your light. And so some of us hold back in intimacy because we're afraid that we're not that perfect person for the person in front of us. The fourth thing is that some of us are simply uncomfortable with close distances. We've unconsciously taken on this idea that there's too much of a closeness that can happen sometimes. And so we keep things on a surface level. We keep things where they're safe. Intimacy doesn't just happen, it requires choice again and again and again to lean in, to make, we call a bid for connection, to close that distance. So, where do we go from here? Now that you've seen maybe some of the things that are blocking you from having more intimacy, the next step is to uncover where you personally struggle the most. And this isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Just noticing, oh, here's where I shut down, here's where I hold back, here's where I don't open my whole full self. Once you know these places, then you can start working on them. So if you like, I have a quick quiz. I call it a 3-minute intimacy quiz. The link is down below, and you can find maybe some of those places where you feel blocked, where you feel kind of stuck, and maybe a habitual pattern of not being able to have the intimacy that you want. I want to give you just a small challenge also today. You can certainly do the quiz, take a look at it, but also tonight. Why not? Just tonight. Try something. Just pick any moment, just one where you'd normally hold back. And instead, share just a little more, a thought, a feeling, a desire, and see what happens. If you're not with a partner, share it with yourself. And that might sound kooky or woo-woo or whatever, but there is a value to actually voicing these things to yourself rather than just thinking about them in your head, but sharing something out loud, sharing a thought or a feeling or a desire out loud. I'm lonely, I'm tired, I'm scared, I've got fears, whatever it might be, say this out loud and see if that creates even just a little more intimacy with yourself. And it's just a little bit. Intimacy doesn't take necessarily big, grand gestures. It can be about those little moments where we let ourselves be seen. So again, if you're ready to take a deeper look, check out the quiz that's in the link below. It's a simple way to start seeing intimacy differently. Try this out tonight of just leaning in a little more, making a bid for connection with your partner, even with a friend, certainly with yourself. And then I'd be interested if you comment below which of these 4 blocks resonated most with you. Drop a comment. I'd love to hear about it. And if you found this helpful, subscribe for more insights on mastering modern intimacy. I hope to see you soon.